Well, I watched the first game and I watched the second game, and I'm continually seeing the same patterns in both games and throughout the whole NBA. Okay, so Warrior Spurs from last night, uh, very similar to the Houston Rockets, uh, a little bit different in terms of how the game went, but this is more from a coach's perspective. Okay, and before I start, when I mention controlling games or fixing games, this is not what I mean where everybody at it's a whole unit, okay? Where people are just from the coaching staff to the refs, they're all gathered together talking about how we're going to control this game. No, that's not how it works. The players aren't together with the refs and the coaches. That's not how it works. It goes in tiers, okay? Some people may be involved, some people might not be involved. It's mostly the league itself, okay? It's the league, the people running the business, okay? That's who's involved in how they're going to control the game, okay? So I don't believe Popovich is involved in anything, okay? I just think for this reason, this particular day, he is sending a message to the league in this game, okay? It's very obvious that he's sending a message to the league, and I'm going to go into detail about that. But first, I want to explain about the public, okay? So in the first game, Kawhi's hurt. A lot of people thought Pachulia injured him on purpose and things like that. They're saying he's dirty, and yeah, he is a dirty player. But there's a lot of other players in the league that have done this in the past. Okay, Aldridge did it. Uh, NBA players do that by accident at times. So I see that a lot happen in the NBA. They go 2 steps in, and somebody turns their ankle. Okay, so it's very common that happens in the NBA. Okay. Not gonna go into detail about it, if Zaza did it on purpose or not. Uh, I don't know if he did it on purpose. He could have. He might have. All right. So, but that's not what I'm gonna talk about in this video. The point of this video is uh, how they controlled this game, and the fact of the matter is, Kawhi's out. Okay, so Kawhi was out. Now, in the first game, they competed. When Kawhi played that 24 minutes, the Spurs still competed in that game. Okay, so they ended up losing by 2 points. It was 113, 111. Lost by 2 points. They competed. The public saw this. Okay, the Spurs competed without Kawhi Leonard. So they go into game two now and they get wiped out. Okay, the reason why they got wiped out is because the public's perception, they were thinking in their minds, you know what, we're getting 13 points on this game, 14 points, whatever it is. We're going to take the Spurs. They competed in the first game without Kawhi, and he only played 24 minutes. I'm going to take the Spurs. So that's their thinking going in, okay? That is why Golden State wiped them out last night, okay? Because I'm not saying that it was overly lopsided, but the perception and the mind of the public, there was more belief going with the Spurs that they can cover that line, okay? So that is why Golden State wiped them out. That is why they blew them out by 36 points, or covered the line, if you want to say. So that's one reason. Now, the second reason is the coach. This is a totally different aspect, okay? This is a totally different thinking for the coach now, okay? So Popovich is going in thinking, you know what? They injured our best player. They took away our best player. We're not going to compete tonight. We're going to show the league we're not going to compete on this level because they took our player away. I'm not going to call timeouts when I have to call timeouts. And if you watch this game two, you can clearly see Popovich on the bench. Sure, he's saying man up to his team and inspiring them a little bit, but you could just tell he's not calling timeouts at the appropriate times. And if you know Popovich teams, he's very, very good at doing things like this. He's very good at structuring timeouts. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA, a top caliber coach for years. Okay, so he knows exactly when to call timeouts, when momentum is swinging and things like that. So when they got down by 9, 10 points in the first quarter, there was still no timeout. The lead blew from 9 points to about 15, 16 points in a matter of seconds, okay, on this game. and there was no timeout called by Popovich. So that tells me right there he was definitely sending a message to the league. And the reason I know this is because the league doesn't want something like this to happen, okay? The league does not want a blowout like this, especially in the Western Conference Finals where everybody's going to be tuned in to the game. They don't want it. They don't want it. They're going to lose tons of money. Okay, I'm a sports bettor, and even I lost interest after the first quarter. Okay, you could just imagine people that are fans, diehard fans of both these teams, tuning out of the game at halftime. Okay, I'm sure they lost tons of money on the ratings because of this happening. They don't want this blowout. The league is scared. They fear having a blowout like this because they're going to lose money. Okay, they're going to lose money when they can make more money. Now, if you look at this halftime score or the first quarter, it was already over by the first quarter, 33-16. So they lost tons just by the ratings dropping after the first quarter. After the second quarter, definitely they lost it. So I'm sure a lot of people tuned out of this game at the end of the first half. Okay, so the league don't want this, especially on a game where everybody's going to be tuned in. The only NBA game of the day, the Western Conference Finals. Nobody wants to see this. Okay, so this is telling me that Popovich was sending a message to the league. Okay, so Popovich, this guy is very smart. He's not a dumb coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he says. Okay, and he didn't want to come out and say that, obviously, but he's been doing this for years. Okay, Popovich is a veteran. He knows how to coach a team, and there's no way they would have lost by this much. I'm not saying Spurs were going to win this game. Sure, I know they're overly matched by Golden State. Golden State's a far better team than the Spurs, a better offensive team, one of the best teams that we've ever seen in our generation. So the Warriors, I didn't expect them to win by this amount of points, obviously, against a top caliber defensive team like the Spurs. So I'm saying around 15, 20 points, at best, losing. I expected a better fight from the Spurs. So this is kind of makes you think a little bit that there's something else going on. Okay, so if you watch the body language by Popovich here, he said in this post game interview, we didn't believe we could win. Okay, if you know Popovich and what his style is, he is not a coach that would say something like this. He would not say we didn't believe we could win. Okay, I've never heard Popovich say something like this to this nature. And if you just hear what he says, you can just tell deep down, he's saying that you're going to take away our best player. We're not going to compete for you. So take a look at this interview here, this post-game interview.
If we would have won the game, I'd still have concerns. That's what coaches do. But I think tonight, it's not what I expected. I'm disappointed. And the only way I can process it is I think it's not about O's and X's or rebounds or turnovers or anything like that. And I think we've maybe felt it too much, Kawhi being gone, in the sense that I don't think, as I watched, I don't think they believed. And you have to believe. And I don't think, as a group, they really did.
No coach is going to say that. No coach. Not a Popovich. Not a Popovich.
Psychobabble word you want to use, but that's the way I process it. I don't think they started the game with the belief. And it showed in the lack of edge, intensity, grunt, all that sort of thing. And that was disappointing. But when you're playing a team that's as good as Golden State, you're going to get embarrassed if that's the way you come out. And we did.
You could just tell, guys, if you're looking at this interview here, you could just tell. He says, if you don't come out like that, you're gonna get embarrassed. Okay, that's a subliminal message to the league. If you don't see that, go back and watch the interview. The league embarrassed themselves last night by losing. Popovich is a legit coach, man, and he's been doing this for a long time. So you could clearly see that he's sending a message to the league. You're going to take away our player. We're not going to compete for you guys. So I'm anxious to see what goes on in the next game. It's basically like he's competing against the league, really, because the league is in charge of what goes on. Okay, they're the business. Okay, everyone has to answer to what the league wants. Okay, that's how it goes. That's how they control these games. Okay, so I'm anxious to see what happens in this next game. So I'll be back with some more videos. This one this one was an interesting one to break down. And if you know Popovich, he's not a coach that would come out and say something like that. So I'll be back with some more videos. Comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you then.